Hello, I'm the Angry Spork, still taking issue with Batman Eternal. In the previous issue, Red Robin was flying to Japan when he found out that he had a stowaway, Harper Row. She insisted on coming with him to find out what the source is of the nanobots affecting her brother and the Narrows. Meanwhile, Batwing and Jim Corrigan, investigating the magic beneath Arkham Asylum, were separated, and Corrigan was brought face to face with the man who seemed responsible, Mr. Bygone.
In issue 16, scripted by Ray Fox, Mr. Bygone is chatting it up with Corrigan, saying Arkham was once a hospital for healing back when he was admitted for hearing voices. As wisps begin to take humanoid form, he laments never telling his wife how much he loved her, but blames Arkham for what he became, the loss of his arm, and his family. He accuses Corrigan of making the creatures, and asks if he's ever hurt people.
Oh, come on. Those soccer riots were ages ago, and we were justified. Our team won. Or wait, did we lose?
As one creature plunges its hand into Corrigan's chest, clearly not understanding a little thing called boundaries, Bygone mentions his captive's possession of the specter within him, and that Arkham is a place where horrible things come out and eats the good,
making it the optimal place for a political campaign rally.
Meanwhile, Batman gets a call from Batwing, who waves Arkham off as no big deal. Bats tells him to report when he's done for a new assignment, and we find that it's Joker's daughter speaking into Batwing's helmet, professing love for the suit. However, Little Miss Hot Topic Halloween managed to mimic the guy's voice, how did she operate the suit's systems from outside, and after it was malfunctioning? The Dark Knight, none the wiser, watches police, including Jason Bard, haul some suspects away, one of them threatening that he has Bard's number. Yeah, just remember, it's 6-2, shut up!
Huh. They've retired so many numbers at the GCPD, they supplant them with rude comebacks. Interesting.
A different cop is struggling with his suspect when the crook wrestles away the officer's gun, only to be shot through the thumb by Bard before being subdued. So much for going for that Galaga arcade record. Bard sees Batman watching when Vicky Vale approaches, wondering if he's the man tearing crooks up and steering the police straight. Bard doesn't like that she's past the police line, but Vale reminds him that he has her number and should call her. Bard asks if it's for a story or just to see him.
Women, spending their lonely Saturday nights walking in on active crime scenes just to get a guy's attention. Typical, am I right, fellas?
Back at Arkham Asylum, the ground level portion not littered with dead guards and vacant cells, Professor Pig is led to Professor Milo and Margaret Pye, who seems to be doing pretty well after Batwing tranked her. Milo insists that the sick man is just someone who wants to be well. With an oink of confirmation, Milo takes him to his room. They enter an area that looks dark and dank, with a couple guys huddled in one corner or another. The fun park, as Pig calls it, was prepared just for him, as instructed by the Master. Milo tells him to give himself to the light and be saved. A faint light shines on Pig, and he screams as Mist approaches him.
He's apparently watching the first few episodes of Beware the Batman.
In Tokyo's Akihabara district, Red Robin is walking through what seems like a deserted electronics pavilion, followed a couple of yards behind by Harper Row, when metallic tendrils attack. The pair's banter reminds us that Red Robin told Harper to stay behind in the plane, but she didn't listen. It's played to be snarky and fun, but Harper is more annoying than fun. RR sticks a pen-shaped object into one of the tendrils, causing it to fall as she calls Harper an idiot. He chucks more dart thingies at more tendrils while Harper just taps on her smartphone. You're going to get us saved. I'm gonna get us saved. After tapping on her smartphone, it vibrated a little, and all the tendrils fall inert. Plot convenience. There's an app for that, but only for Harper Row. As Red R tells her that she can't be there due to lack of training, they're complimented by the man controlling the machines, Dr. Sergei Alexandrov, accompanied by cyborg primate Maxwell, both of whom we saw at the end of issue 5. He says the attack was a test, one they survived, so they can talk and be tested again. We jump back to Arkham, where Corrigan has just about enough of his Temple of Doom scenario. He removes the hand from his chest, telling Bygone that he regrets every time the Spectre has emerged from him, and some of the times that he didn't. He clocks the ghoulish foe, saying he can't do anything about it, so he lives with it. Not sure why Bygone is reeling like that, but okay. Corrigan handcuffs him to a pipe while Batwing is somewhere else, tied to spikes in a wall and regaining consciousness. Joker's daughter is in the shadows, having a conversation in her head with Daddy. Batwing notes how earlier she sounded like him and shouldn't have been able to use his systems. Down in the depths of Arkham, she can sound like anyone she wants due to a magical mystery. Which, given all the other magic stuff going on, I suppose it makes sense even if it seems a bit simplistic. And it does answer the voice question, but doesn't answer how she can use Batwing's suit while it's been malfunctioning. But hey, with this series, one answer is more than I was expecting. She reaches for Batwing's left arm, probably to remove it as was done to others, when the suit snares her wrist and small saws break his bonds. Batwing demands to know what's going on, and his captor says that they're remaking him, like they will all of Gotham. She then calls Maxie, who we see on a splash page, approaching them, looking like he just came from a steam room. Behind him on the wall is a circle of left arms, all pointing to the center of a black circle, or maybe a hole. Joker's daughter says he's a vessel waiting to download their messiah. He's apparently catatonic, alleging that makes him unfeeling and thus unstoppable.
You know, catatonia is characterized as being in a mental stupor and having muscular rigidity, the latter of which can cause enough sharp pain to limit one's mobility.
Terrible Character Reinvention number 576-J says that Daddy likes Batwing and wants him to prepare the vessel, probably done through the ineffectual tasers and punches on Maxie Zeus. Batwing takes this to mean possibly Joker's behind this, but is too busy being throttled. He frees his trachea, kicks Maxie, flips over him while firing a line from his gauntlet and catches it with his other hand, using it as a garrote to deprive Maxie of oxygen. It's actually a pretty slick move. Wannabe Clown Girl is gone, so Batwing tries and fails to call Batman, so he has his suit set up autocalls every 3 minutes to contact Boss Bat as soon as possible.
But remember, the suit is still malfunctioning, so it ends up ordering takeout from 3 Chinese restaurants, 2 different Domino's, and prank calling someone in Australia.
Despite the many ongoing problems with the suit, he also has it start decrypting Riddler's message, found several issues earlier. As Maxie is dragged away to be placed on an altar, Batwing goes searching for Corrigan, but instead finds Dr. Simon X, whom some may recognize as the classic Batman villain, Dr. Double X. He weakly says that after months of being in the depths of Arkham, most of the staff are dead. A blue spectral replica emerges from X, warning that its touch is deadly. It reaches for Batwing. "I'm not touching you! I'm not touching you!" when Corrigan smacks X in the back of the head, rendering him unconscious and his double retreating back inside him. Spirit projectors. Can't stand 'em.
Ghost racist.
As X mutters and foams at the mouth, Corrigan tells Batwing someone means to bring a soul back from hell, which should include a parody of a church somewhere. Batwing says he saw a kind of chapel in his earlier fight with Maxie, and just as they're about to head back there, Corrigan's suspicions of whose soul was being retrieved is confirmed. Deacon Blackfire, taking Maxie's body as he tells his flock to take the interlopers to see the light. Dead or alive! Dead or alive!
Deacon, I've told you 1,000 times, liking Bon Jovi isn't the same as being able to cover Bon Jovi.
Issue 17, Fox still on script, turns back the clock 3 years, not 5 because this has nothing to do with Carmine Falcone's scars, where a not-dead Deacon Blackfire takes the stage. He says he'll save his believers, but he needs help, finishing his sentence in the present, help in bringing in the light. Wing and Corrigan are surrounded by more than a few shadowed, possibly zombie followers. Joker's daughter is seen emerging from the shadows, her head wrapped up and presenting Luke Fox's head. Charming. But it turns out to be a dream by Rory, Luke's roommate. He tries calling Luke, saying his mom is worried, and no one's heard from him in a week.
Really? A week and Batman didn't bring up anything during that last call? Didn't ask why the nothing disturbance was taking so long? What the heck, man? For that matter, how did they even survive? The human body can only go a few days without water. Maybe you could speculate Corrigan could get by because of the power of the Spectre or something. But unless Luke Fox has some Evian and a waste disposal system in his suit, he's a corpse.
Worry not worry, he's just beneath Arkham Asylum, surrounded by ghouls and walls apparently moving around, screwing up his compass. Blackfire's horde doesn't seem to be advancing on them, and though Corrigan tells him to keep cool, Batwing's fed up with the whole supernatural nightmare nonsense. He accepts the paranormal, and decides now's the time to start seriously fighting back. Wing decks a couple of the ghouls, which Corrigan objects to for some reason. No time for clarity, back to Japan! Sergei is explaining to his teenage guest that he owns 12 of the shops in a row, which front for his lab. Red Robin states the doctor's name because readers may have forgotten since last issue, and that his nanobots are plaguing Gotham. Sergei doesn't care for his tone, claiming to have trained better than him, as Maxwell leaps into Harper's arm. Sergei asks who the young lady is that's taking a selfie with his bionic companion. Red Robin warns that the monkey is dangerous, perplexing Harper as she looks away, and the monkey wields a syringe towards her head.
Tim. Shh. It's natural selection. Just let her go.
Sadly, because I can't have nice things, it was a feint, as Harper can use her cell phone to electrocute the monkey with its own robo-limbs, because of course she can, because shut up. Then she threatens to get creative with the software.
Don't fall for it, Sergei. Nothing about her is creative.
Looking over holoschematics of the nanites, Sergei confirms that they're his design, but they're obsolete models that were decommissioned and stolen last year. Red Robin thinks he's lying and insists on taking him back to Gotham to stop the nanites. Sergei still wants to know Harper's name because I like the way she operates.
By having things handed to her by the writers?
Back to Blackfire's congregation 3 years earlier. He talks about how Gotham was once a great city full of promise and hope, but recent times of crime, apathy, and cruelty have tempted people into despair. He talks of evil elements and their own vision for the city that turned their neighborhood, Park Row, into Crime Alley. Some say they aren't worth saving, but God disagrees. They can be saved, and Gotham redeemed. After the sermon, the congregation is urged to stay for free hot meals, while the deacon is told that selected members of the gathering are chained below, including a special guest who's been deprived of sleep day in and day out for a week and given nothing but wafers and water, both drugged. A splash page reveals their guest is none other than Batman.
Batman in chains and a likely ill-informed view on religion? When did this become Dawn of Justice?
Present day at Wayne Manor, Julia observes old photos of her father, one with a fellow soldier, another with a woman. Alfred enters and we have the starter to a third blasted talk about her father went from the man he was to a servant. He explains that his father and grandfather were Wayne butlers before him, and as a special reconnaissance regiment operative, Julia knows about serving an ideal. However, she's having a hard time seeing Ideal and Party Boy Bruce Wayne in the same contexts. She asks where the fire went in him that led a noble war hero to become an accessory to be used up. We have a brief look back to Batwing and Corrigan fighting off the Horde. Maxie Blackfire doesn't believe they can win, even though his minions black out when struck. As they're knocked through the wall, they're told the blood they spill takes them deeper into his realm. Jump back 3 years, and Batman remains defiant of Deacon's attempt to drug him into becoming a believer. Addressing an armed gathering around them, Blackfire says Batman is the evil he previously spoke of, making Gotham a mad, godless city, worshipping him.
No one's told Blackfire about the internet, have they?
He says that Batman wants the city fearful so that he can save them, and wants his followers to kill him. But Batman asks why Deacon just doesn't do it himself. Maybe he's afraid. Bats can tell that he's had his people killing and fighting for him after heavy doses of trauma, torture, and drugged charity meals. As Deacon is about to strike with a crowbar, Bats kicks him back and breaks the pipe suspending his chains. One of the flock insists Deacon show off his righteous power, but it seems the Deacon's control is slipping. After again telling his followers to kill Batman, the flock then begins beating their own fraudulent leader, which honestly doesn't seem very organic. Sure, we were told early in the series Blackfire was killed by his own people. By the way to stand there and watch, Bats. But it seemed rather sudden how they just up and attack him. The focus is largely on Bats or Blackfire with no sign of change from the parishioners. Seems like more telling instead of showing. Back to the present, under Arkham, where Maxie Blackfire scoffs at Gotham's attempt to kill him, now that he has the power of hell itself. Corrigan is in some reservoir of water, asking for his other half. "The Spectre! Now would be a good time!"
Is that odd wording a fluke, or is that really the entity's full name? The Spectre. Like, if he got some junk mail with his name on it, would read, "To Mr. the Spectre."
As zombies close in, Corrigan frantically looks for his partner, and on a splash page, Blackfire calls forth his monstrous minions, and they grow bat wings to take flight. The Spectre refuses to surface, and Blackfire commands his thrall to overtake Gotham to save the people and cleanse the streets. Blackfire quotes Batman from 3 years ago about having a plan, having control, as ghouls pull Corrigan under the water. Can you say amen?
Well, probably not very well underwater.
And so we continue to issue 18, Tim Seeley on script, featuring a cover that boasts Killer Croc celebrating an epic hide-and-seek win. We start off in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, rather than Rio de Janeiro, South Dakota. A child is hauling a wheelbarrow full of Batman figures, probably to sell on eBay to collectors such as myself, when he slips and the merchandise spills out. All the while, he curses Mr. Vampire Hero for never saving him. A man with a gun and a toy company t-shirt threatens him to get up or he'll be sent to the break room.
If you think that's bad, you should see the employee bathroom where I used to work. Whew.
The aggressor is lassoed and then pulled away. We have to assume he's subdued somehow because the very next shot is the common 2-page horizontal split spread, showing Batgirl, Red Hood, and Batwoman standing over the kid. No sign of the gunman or what happened to him. Hood tries to reassure the kid, but his Portuguese is rusty. "I might have called this kid a horse." "Well, having to talk to you is the bigger insult, Jason. I think he'll get over it." Hood tells the kid to hide for a while until they return. Batwoman notes that they don't know what to expect from their turret and asks the Batgirl if they're cool. "You're the one who does cool, Batwoman. Me, not so much."
What?
Yeah, I know, she's angry about her wrongfully imprisoned father. I get that. It just seems like a weird line coming from her. But anyway, she confirms that she's willing to work with the two of them in the interest of finding who framed Jim Gordon. In the background of the last panel, we see a sign with the logo from the gunman's shirt. Mais Divertidos Toys.
Not allowed to grow up. I'm my Divertidos kid. Forced child labor is the thing that they did.
We're taken back to Gotham, where Batman watches Bard make FaceTime with some locals in Crown Point, with nary a camera in sight. After mentioning that the Gotham Gazette claims Bard is the mayor's new favorite for commissioner, Alfred suggests that maybe this newcomer is as genuine as he lets on. We'll see.
So it seems that Batman is still skeptical of Bard, despite that handshake from before. While it's possible Bats is just playing nice and hasn't really trusted Bard since finding out that he tipped off the Penguin, leading to 12 murders of Falcone's men, it's never quite specified. That just comes off as forgetfulness. Again, probably because of so many writers on this title.
Bats asks how Miss Pennyworth is doing, and Alfred says she went out for some high tea. Alfie thinks she went out for actual tea when it's actually the name of a club that could be punk music. Guess Julia checked Google Maps for ironically named clubs for rebellious British 20-somethings looking to avoid contact with their estranged fathers. Back in Crown Point, a man carries a child running down an alley, and Bard goes to see what the matter is after someone mentions he may be bleeding. The man tells his charge, Jade, to hang on, that he will help because she's one of his favorites. They climb down a sewer hole as Bard enters the alley, hearing a scream, then looking frozen with fear. The next thing he knows, Batman calls to him, grabbing his shoulder, taking him by surprise. Bard was apparently unresponsive for a couple seconds. He's not sure what he saw, only that it was big and terrible.
Oh, so Jason Bard got an advanced screening of Zack Snyder's Justice League movie.
Bats tells him that Gotham lends itself to some crazy things that are hard to comprehend to newbies, so maybe Bard had an acute stress reaction and should go home. He calls Penny One for a drain system map beneath the Narrows, and info on the whereabouts of interruption, another trope this series tends to abuse. Seriously, there's a line between suspenseful and annoying. So, Bard says that Gotham is his city now, and he'll learn to comprehend. He'll take point, because between the two of them, it's the pointy-eared vigilante that can avoid being grabbed from behind. They come across a body face down in the sewage, and Batman determines he died of trauma-related exsanguination from pre-death mastication.
Which, in plain terms, means something ate his face and he bled to death. Which sounds like a kid's cuisine tie-in to Zack Snyder's Justice League movie. Wow, these are just coming so naturally.
Bart is noticeably queasy, recalling the warning he was given by his uncle about being in Gotham, and stories of a sewer-dwelling cannibal called Killer Croc, and the lieutenant narrowly misses an introductory swipe by Croc himself.
I actually don't mind this design of old Waylon Jones. He's about as crocodilian as I think he should be. Better than giving him a straight-up croc snout or him being the size of the Incredible Hulk. I can say it's one of the very, very, very few things about the New 52 that wasn't completely stupid. Very few.
Croc isn't thrilled about being hunted by cops, or called cannibal, which is an element from his previous incarnation I could have done without myself. He's not thrilled to see bats either, because Bane has apparently been breaking people for fun and threw Croc to the dogs. Whatever that alludes to. Bard searches for the gun he lost while saying Croc is under arrest, but Scaleface roars that people were coming to him for help. Bard accuses him of the previously discovered face-chewing death while pulling a boot on him.
Look out! It's a size 9!
Waylon retorts that in lieu of actual police work, Bard is lazily rushing to blame the cannibal Croc as he grabs and lifts the lieutenant. Look, Ma, one-handed. He says Logan and Jade were his friends when Batman grabs Croc and points his attention to a wall with a black handprint. He knows Jones didn't do it, and what did. We're taken to Blackgate Pen, where Jim is finishing up a shower in time for one of 2 new arrivals to get cleaned up, Carmine Falcone and Penguin. Jim has a chat with a guard that takes him back to his cell, Carl, who has a pregnant wife and thinks Jim Gordon doesn't belong there. Though it doesn't feel like a win, because this is a Jim Gordon who'd rather sulk all the time. His cellmate Leo says that his humility is rare for cops. Right, that's what humility means. Be they walking the beat or directing traffic. He waxes on that they're all the same tribe, humans being tribal by nature, and that in some cultures their word for people is the same as the tribe's name, meaning that anyone outside the tribe aren't really people. Even people who used to be friends before choosing sides in the gang war now only see each other as mutually imprisoned, faceless enemies.
Huh. I think Leo just explained internet trolls.
Penguin tells Batman that he has both the maps and info on Croc's whereabouts he requested earlier, even though that second part needed an educated guess. Bats appreciates it, saying that they're looking for a girl possibly abducted by someone in Gotham Underground, and that he already knows Croc's location, and he's better than any map where the sewers are concerned.
I'll accidentally waste your time on another menial task later.
Bard tries to strike up a conversation with Croc, but Waylon's not biting. He's not convinced that someone like the lieutenant is capable of finding someone nobody cares about, and that he looks at Croc sideways with a familiar gaze of distrust and disgust. He should be focusing on the dark, where things worse than man-crocodiles now hide, and right on cue, we see a strange red-eyed figure behind the 3, watching them.
A repurposed alien from Signs! M. Night Shyamalan's been the mastermind all along!
Back in Rio, Red Hood notes how much he hates child slavery, which ordinarily is a trait I like in heroes, that they're aware of certain lines that can make some villains extra evil for crossing, and he'll probably be a little extra forceful in dealing with them. But this is New 52 Red Hood and he's terrible, so shrug. Batwoman reiterates the no-killing rule, which I have to wonder why, because if Batman really cared about enforcing it with Jason Todd, the guy wouldn't be wearing his symbol, or freely walking around. Red Hood is ready to go, but Batgirl thinks his methods will give their target time to escape. Hood thinks that the entire reason he's there is because Batgirl has been sloppy of late. B-Girl says that Batwoman should decide, since she's not family, so to speak, and can be objective. So the woman who stole Terry McGinnis's design says that ladies should split up while Red Hood provides cover fire, only if necessary, much to Hood's chagrin.
Oh, don't complain. I have to read a story with you in it. There are no winners here.
So they split up. But Hood ends up modifying the plan. He says that Batgirl doesn't need cover since the guards aren't any match for the legs of a ballerina and brains of a librarian that made her better than any of the Robins, to their annoyance. And it's all due to her fighting for someone living. In the meantime, Batgirl finds out who's running the operation, who was totally not just playing with dolls that look like the three crime fighters, and says his toys can make her do whatever he wants. Red Hood continues to tell Batwoman more details of Batgirl's personal life because that's probably totally something she's cool with. Mom left, brother's a psycho, and she only ever had her dad to trust in. We glimpse back at Blackgate to Gordon, a now-dead fishnet face, and even Batman, Bard, and Croc, as Hood opines on Batgirl's loyalty to her father. She only needs protection from herself. And the two of them from her as she suddenly attacks them with batarangs.
Yikes. That whole thing read like a fan writer trying to use his own little story to prove to everyone else that Jason Todd's really awesome and intellectual and capable and humble all at once, when really he isn't. But that's probably less Tim Seeley and more general New 52 mandated nonsense.
Tune in next time, where hopefully Red Hood plays a game of Catch the Batarang with your face.